I was wrong about Geneva. I was expecting a boring, ostentatious bubble, but I found a city that truly knows how to live. I've called France home since 2008, but crossing into Switzerland and going to Geneva was a bit of a wake-up call. When a simple McDonald's value meal is 16 euros, you see exactly how the math of your daily life shifts the minute you cross from France into Switzerland. You've seen the rankings. Every year, Swiss cities like Geneva are at the very top of those best places to live lists. But is it possible to actually pick up and move there? Today, I'm breaking down why Switzerland is a world-class neighbor to visit, but a very complicated place to call home, especially if you're thinking about moving there as an American retiree. I personally had a mental image of Geneva based on a very brief visit there 26 years ago. Clean, rich, and a little boring. The weekend we went, I wasn't even planning on making a video. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for the place. But the city left such a great impression that I realized I wanted to share it with you. Geneva sits in the far southwestern corner of Switzerland, surrounded by France on three sides. It's French-speaking and just about a 3-hour drive or train ride from my home in Dijon. But the moment you cross that border, everything changes. You're dealing with a new currency, different road rules, and all these funny little Swiss idiosyncrasies, all wrapped up in a cost of living that makes even the most expensive French cities look like a bargain. So let's talk about the money. You can't talk about Switzerland without talking about the Swiss price tag. Economists use the Big Mac index to compare purchasing power globally, and I was thinking about this when we were in Geneva, so we popped into a McDo. Since a Big Mac is a relatively standardized product, its price is an indication of how expensive a place really is. According to these infographics I found, I was expecting Big Macs in Switzerland to be super expensive. In Dijon, a Big Mac is 8 euros. In Geneva, it's 7.40 in Swiss francs, or CHF, which is also roughly 8 euros. So far, surprisingly similar prices. But the full-sized menu, when you add the fries and a drink, is 14.70 in Swiss francs in Geneva, or about 16 euros. Whereas in Dijon, the same meal is 11 euros and 20 cents. Or take a standardized basket of goods that costs 109 euros in France. The same products in Switzerland cost 151 Swiss francs. Roughly 158 euros in 2024 exchange rates, the time that this research was done. This 45% price gap represents Switzerland's high market costs and strong currency. However, the average Swiss resident still enjoys some of the highest purchasing power in the world, as we can see here in this table from the OECD comparing PPP, purchasing power parity, across different countries. According to the Swiss Federal Statistical Office, the 2024 median gross wage was 7,024 Swiss francs, approximately 7,375 euros. While Social Security and pension deductions are lower than in France, roughly between 13 and 18% based on the data that I found, Swiss workers must pay for private health insurance out of pocket. After taxes and insurance, a median Swiss worker is left with the equivalent of about 5,220 euros in spendable income, which sounds so high to me based on French standards. It sounds like the income for an entire family, for an entire household in France, as opposed to just one person in Switzerland. INSEE, France's National Statistics Bureau responsible for tracking the country's economy, population, and social data, reports the French median net salary at 2,190 euros per month in 2024 in the private sector. Because this is net, healthcare and social protections are already covered. But ultimately, while the Swiss worker has 2.5 times more cash in their bank account at the end of every month, the Swiss price tag on everything from food to rent eats into that lead significantly. But still, those Swiss salaries sound extremely enticing, which is why there are so many frontaliers, people who live in France but who commute to work in Switzerland every day to take advantage of those high Swiss wages. I talked more about this in the video I made on Annecy, for example, so I'll link to that here and you can check it out if you're interested in learning more. Real quick, if you're someone who's planning a move to France, but all of the different logistical puzzle pieces seem a bit overwhelming, I'd love to help. You can book a one-on-one consultation call with me to discuss your specific move. And if you're specifically curious about my home city of Dijon, you can actually come and stay with us. We have a short-term rental right behind our house, and while you're here, I also offer private one-on-one tours. It's a personal 4-hour deep dive where I use my experience as an American living here since 2008 to show you the neighborhoods and essential services so you can see for yourself if Dijon is right for you. Links for the calls, the rental, and the tour are in the video description below. Also, if you're enjoying this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. It helps keep the channel going. And as an added bonus, my mysterious French husband, who is my companion on all of these visits, has agreed to appear on the channel if I reach 20,000 subscribers. But for now, let's get back to Switzerland. So my 26-year-old memory of Geneva being boring was really not accurate at all. I found the city to be extremely vibrant, in fact. Is there a chance my coolness standards have changed in the intervening decades? Perhaps. And Geneva was incredibly clean, but it didn't feel sterile. But there really was a vibrance and an excitement about the city. Young and old, family and friends, tons of people were out and about the whole weekend we were there. On Saturday evening, we went to Les Bains des Paquis, a public bathing area on the lake with cafes and guinguettes, and it was giving me Copenhagen vibes. We came across this group of people happily dancing together in a park. And on Sunday afternoon, the park by the lake was absolutely packed with people out enjoying the gorgeous weather. And the different neighborhoods we had the chance to visit really had different vibes as well. Sunday, we had brunch in Carouge, which felt very different from the Vieille Ville, for example, which is perched on a hill with medieval buildings. But every neighborhood felt like a real place, really vibrant and lively with tons of people there and lots of amenities for people of all ages. And then there were the gorgeous trams. I have become a tram enthusiast in the intervening 26 years since my last visit to Geneva, and they're everywhere, which I love and always take as a wonderful sign of livability. And here are a bunch of other little funny quirks, little differences that I noticed while we were there. One thing I noticed coming from very quiet Dijon was that there are planes everywhere. I saw and heard them constantly, which is a big change coming from our relatively quiet skies here in Dijon. I was trying to take a nap by the lake on Saturday afternoon, and I was actually a bit annoyed by the air traffic noise, but I guess that's the price you pay for having an international airport so close, which you could also look at as an advantage as well. Another thing that I found incredibly charming, enough that I had to stop and investigate because I couldn't believe my eyes, were these honor system newspaper distributors. The traffic lights were a little bit different. They show red and yellow together right before they turn green. It's like ready, set, go. So efficient, tellement efficace. And then there were a couple little color swaps, color differences that we noticed as well. In France, blue signs are for the highway, the autoroute, and green signs are pointing towards the national roads. Whereas in Switzerland, it's the exact opposite, which is a little bit confusing. And also in Switzerland, crosswalks for pedestrians are yellow, whereas in France, yellow crosswalks are temporary and usually located near construction sites, whereas in Switzerland, yellow crosswalks are just the standard everywhere. And even the numbers are a little bit different. In Geneva, they use 70 instead of the complicated French 70 or 60-10, and they use 90 instead of the mind-boggling French 90 or 420-10. Tellement logique, so logical. And another little tip about visiting Switzerland from France. For us, for example, Switzerland is not included in our phone plan because it's not technically part of the EU. So we have to activate a special Switzerland option before we arrive in Switzerland. And it only costs €5 per phone line to have a month of service of coverage in Switzerland. So it's definitely very affordable, but it's a lesson that we learned the hard way. One time we drove into Switzerland and didn't realize that we needed to activate this special option. And both my husband and I racked up lots of additional charges. So that's just something to be careful of. So we definitely got an amazing impression of Geneva and can absolutely understand how and why it finishes at the top of so many of these quality of life indices. For example, third on the Happy City Index, third on the Quality of Living rankings, third on the Smart City Living Index, high on the Global Livability Index, and it's often outranking every single city in France. So despite the fact that these indices are all calculated a little bit differently, Geneva consistently ranks near the top, probably thanks to its cleanliness, its green spaces, its public transportation. Clearly, the people who live in Geneva are extremely lucky to live there. Could I live in Geneva? This is the question I'm always asking myself when I do these city visits. It definitely appealed to me, and because I have French citizenship, the paperwork wouldn't be too complicated if I were able to find a job there. But for most Americans, and American retirees in particular, the path to residency in Switzerland is much more complicated. From what I understand, moving to Switzerland requires massive personal savings or a pre-existing personal connection to the country. But I suppose nothing is impossible. So if moving to Switzerland is really your dream, you should continue to explore ways of making it happen. I've traveled all over France recently doing a series of city visit videos, which I'll link to here. But this weekend in Geneva reminded me again how lucky I am to live in Dijon specifically. It's a much more affordable base that keeps world class neighbors like Geneva reachable for a weekend getaway. Geneva is amazing, but for us, we're just lucky to be able to take advantage of its charms occasionally. And now that we had such a great time, we're definitely planning on going back to spend more time there and to check out more of the touristy sites. I can't wait. If you're looking for easy access to Switzerland and a lovely place to call home, and you want to explore Dijon with me or plan your own move to France, check the links in the video description below. And for more practical information about life in France, you can sign up for my free email newsletter by scanning the QR code here or clicking on the link in the video description below. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, à bientôt!